Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you some cards, and I'm going to talk to you about different ways that I picked up these cards. But before I do that, I want to tell you who the sponsors are for this video. First of all, these are 3 YouTube channels that are my sponsors that I want you to get out and pay attention to, maybe watch them. First one is Melissa from Sports Guru 17. Now, Melissa has just celebrated her first year on YouTube. And, you know, in an area where YouTube content creators are dominated in this vintage baseball card stuff and this other kind of baseball card stuff, dominated by men, she stands out. Go watch her channel, give her a like, and give her a few more subscribers, if you will. So congratulations, Melissa, on your 1 year on YouTube. Second is Tony Talks Cards. Now, Tony, look that up. Go over and look at his channel. You'll like it, and subscribe to it. He's doing a pretty good job, and he's putting out some videos, and he's being pretty consistent about it. Give him a like. Third, finally, but not the last guy, is Jim Faulkner, and his channel is 5714 Collector. Now, Jim has a unique voice. He's a big Nolan Ryan guy, of course, with that title. But also he's a big Orioles fan, but he shows a lot of different cards that he picks up. And he also is a very good commenter, and he's just very good for this YouTube community. So turn over there and give them a like. Now, I went to a card show here recently with my daughter. She didn't have anything to do for the day, and she said she just wanted to get out of her house a little bit. So I picked her up, and I wasn't going to go to this card show. It was in Kansas City area, and it was actually in Lee Summit. Now, I've been to it before, and the same guy that puts this show on puts on the John Knox Village one, which is a pretty big. He puts on a few of them into some areas, and I like going to his shows. They're organized and that kind of stuff. But the last couple of times I'd been to this VFW one, it just to me, I couldn't find anything. It's a really small venue that probably should have about 25 tables or collectors, but it has about 40 tables. And to me, that's like me wearing spandex. It's like trying to shove a quart of jelly in a pint jar. It just doesn't work. Everywhere I turned, I bumped into somebody. But before I get to that, the only reason I really went is because I got a call from my buddy Ryan, who was traveling in town with his parents. Now, Ryan's not a YouTube creator, but he does watch some content and stuff. You guys might know Ryan. If you go to Stan's table at almost any show, Ryan will be sitting there looking through boxes of stands and finishing off sets. He must have a really good collection. I got to know Ryan at the Strongsville show in the past, and then also at the National. And like I say, anytime you might go at the National, and you might see him helping out at Stan's Cards. And his name's Ryan, and he said he was going to be in town, so I needed to go. I wanted to go see him and visit with him, and I was glad I did. We got to spend, a little bit of time before the show, but even before I saw Ryan, as my daughter and I were walking in, I ran into a buddy of mine that's a dealer, but he wasn't dealing that day, and his name's Alex, and he and I kind of grew up same area together, and he said, "Man, Chris, you're not going to find anything in there. There's not going to be any vintage." And okay, but I drove all this way. I'm going to go to this card show. Well, after talking to Ryan and giving him some ideas on where he should go after Royals game and stuff, and what kind of food he should get, we walked in, and I walked around once, and kind of one and a half, and there are very few vintage cards in there, which, I can be disappointed on that, but man, the show was busy. I mean, it was packed for as little of a venue. So that means a lot of people were looking for things that I don't look for. And it got me to thinking just a little bit about, I really love this Strongsville show that's in April every year. And for about a year or two, I've been touting that kind of show because it's a vintage only pretty much vintage only place. And I get it now. I mean, not just because of this show, but I get it that some collectors, if they would have gone to Strongsville, they might roll their eyes and they might just say the same thing that I just said about this show in Lee's Summit in reverse. You know, there was, you know, Strongsville is not for everyone, and I get it that some people don't want to go. Just like Lee's Summit at this particular one is not for everybody, and it wasn't for me. And I didn't pick up anything, but I did get to spend the rest of the day with my daughter. We went to a nice place to eat, made it back in time, and just kind of spent the day together. It was kind of fun. But card collecting, you know, Chris having fun. 1, card collecting for Chris, 0. I picked up 0 cards at the show. But, you know, card shows are one of the few ways that I really pick up cards. Now, I pick up cards on eBay, but I say this, I never have picked up a very super valuable card, and I just won't do it without having it in my hands first. So it gets to be a little bit of frustration starts to set in if I go to a card show and spend a couple hours driving and I don't find anything. Now, I do here lately with my friend Tom and Coop, and we do, you know, we've set up at card shows. We've traveled to card shows, and, you know, I do get stuff off of eBay, and I do get stuff, you know, I send some of my own stuff off to SGC and do get cards back. So I'm going to show you some cards that I got back from SGC here recently. I finished the 75 set with these cards and the help from my friend Brent Cooper. But I finished this set, and this is Carlton Fisk in 1975. And Billy Williams in 1975. Now, when I say I finished off the set, that means that I picked up at least all the base cards of the Hall of Famers that are in that set. So I just recently got this card back from being graded, which helped finish off my 1980 set. That's Gaylord Perry. And I sent a few of those cards off to finish all the Hall of Famers in that set. I'm not going to show them all to you. Now, I bought a collection, and I sent some cards off out of that collection, and let me show you what I have. Now, sometimes I just pick up, you know, if I see something in a collection that I think I could use for inventory, I'll pick it up. And so I picked up a box of, and it had these in there, and it's the 1993 Pinnacle. Now, that's Derek Jeter in an 8. I really thought that was going to get a higher grade, but, you know, it's my eyeballs. You know, nothing, not the grader's fault. Here's a Derek Jeter in a 9. This was in that box. And this, too, was in that box. So glad to get those back to add to my inventory. I know that's not vintage, but you know what? There's a lot of people that go to card shows that's not looking for vintage cards. I can attest to that by, you know, rewind about 3 minutes into this video. So off of eBay, I talking to Coop on the way home from New Jersey as we're driving, he suggested that I go after the 1963 Fleer set of Hall of Famers. Not very many cards, and when I got home, I looked it up, and I was missing 2 cards. But guess what? I'm not missing 2 cards anymore. Because of eBay, I picked up this Ron Santo. And I picked up this Jim Kaat. Beautiful cards. I'm going to try to temper my excitement when it goes to Strongsville and just be a little bit more straightforward. Not that I'm afraid of offending anybody, but not all card shows are for everybody. And you know, I get it. But we're all in this collecting universe together, I believe. There's been talk of, should Pokemon cards be allowed and game cards be allowed in sports card shows, and I don't know, maybe they ought to rename the shows and not name them sports cards. But gosh, I'd hate to be the father of a kid that collects Pokemon and I collect baseball cards, and I say, man, no, I don't want my kid going to a place with me. I'm not into that. So I think we can, I think, we can all coexist, and the shows don't have to be catered to me. But if I find one that's similar or catered to me, I'll be excited about it. But again, I'm going to temper my excitement a little bit, just so I don't have you going to an event that doesn't fit you. Matter of fact, before you go to a card show, you might want to talk to people about the history of that card show. If you know someone, you can. Now, guys, I'm loving doing this. I'm loving picking up cards. I just finished the 1975 set of Hall of Famers. I just finished the 1980 set and the 1963 Fleer set. So I'm on a roll. Guys, getting back to my sponsors, remember, turn over to Melissa at Sports Guru, Tony Talks Cards, and Jim Faulkner, 5714 Collector. Those guys are doing content and they're doing great. Give them some support and give them some likes. And guys, just remember, this is just a hobby. Collect what you like.